Hey guys, in this video, we're taking a look at the exact products you need to wash a car that's been sitting outside under trees that has a ton of road tar and all that sort of stuff on the paint that's really difficult to remove. All right, now I want to go ahead and show you guys the before picture of this vehicle. You guys can actually hear when I rub my hand across like this on the paint, it almost sounds like there's sandpaper on the paint. Why is that? Because all of this black stuff that you see sitting on the hood here that has this patterned appearance all around is what happens when a car sits under a tree for an extended period of time. The same exact thing happens to the roof as well. And if I start back here and kind of look from a distance through the camera at this Nissan, you really don't pick up on it. It's not until you get really close to the paint that you actually begin to see what I'm talking about here. And as I rub my finger across just like this, you guys can see that while the surface stuff kind of gets moved around and comes off a little bit, there's all this kind of, again, sandpapery stuff underneath that does not come off. And what we often do when we're detailing is we do a wash and then we do a clay bar and we still have this stuff left over and we're thinking, man, this wash is taking so much longer than I anticipated. So how do I create a system that actually makes this fast? Well, the first thing I'm going to start with is my foam cannon, and I am not putting any foam soap in the foam cannon. I'm putting an alkaline degreaser inside of the foam cannon, and while this generally can be diluted about 20-to-1, I'm going to make a heavier, more concentrated version because this car is so nasty. So I'm probably putting about, let's call it 5 ounces of the degreaser in here, and let's call it 20 ounces of water. So it's like a 4-to-1 dilution ratio. Now, as we start out here, obviously you guys are going to hear my voice over the pressure washer, so you got to listen a little bit closer, but I am going to be pushing as much surface dirt off with my pressure washer as I possibly can, and I am using deionized water here just to make sure that I don't have to deal with any water spots. But all I'm doing is a simple pre-rinse here, nothing special. Now, after I get done with the pre-rinsing here, I'm gonna go ahead and start spraying my alkaline degreaser all over the paint and all over the windows. You guys can see it is actually a pretty foaming degreaser, and it kind of mimics some foam soap that you guys might be used to seeing, but I'm not gonna get quite as much foam when I'm just using a degreaser. So I'm gonna let this sit on the paint for roughly, let's say 5 minutes-ish, because I am in the shade, so I can give it a little bit more time. Then I'm gonna come in and start blasting things off. Now, I do want you guys to be able to take a look at what this looks like when it's sitting on the paint. So we'll just take a look at the windshield here real quick. You can see, again, it's sitting pretty flat on the paint, not nearly as many suds, not as much foam as a classic pre-foam solution that you see mostly on social media. Now it's time to go ahead and start blasting things off. So I am gonna be using my pressure washer pretty close to the paint because I want that 45-degree angle that the tip is causing the water to come out at to really start to work for me. Whether I'm on the front here or the sides, I'm gonna be getting pretty close. Now, I turned off my DI tank because I'm just gonna rinse with some DI water after I'm done here because I don't want to dry anything. But in the meantime, there's no sense in using up my DI water. Now, before we go any further with anything, I want to show you guys really quickly. Let's take a look at the hood, and I want to show you a side-by-side right now. We still got some water left on it, but here's what it looks like right now. So you guys can see the difference on the screen. I have not touched the paint at all with any product, any chemical, in terms of agitation. I have only done a pre-wash foam stage with an alkaline degreaser, not actually foam soap. And you guys can see how much of it was removed already. Let's go to the rear view mirrors here, or the side view mirrors. You guys can see, once again, tons of it removed. So guys, like I said, if you do this pre-foam stage right, you're already creating so much efficiency in your detailing business. A lot of you guys are wasting your time with these foam soaps in situations like this that aren't going to work. Well, let's go ahead and get into the agitation wash. Now, in terms of my agitation wash solution, what I'm gonna be doing is adding in some traditional car soap. This is not necessarily for cleaning purposes. It's more for the sake of lubricity, right? As I drag them across the paint, I want something that's lubricated. Secondly, I'm going to be taking super clean degreaser, and I'm going to be pouring kind of like just an indiscriminate amount into the water here. That's going to be what I use more as my cleaner. Now, as I get into this, I want to explain a couple things that are very simple, but most people really don't understand about the wash process. If you do not compartmentalize each part of the process, then you end up spending way too much time in each part of the process. What do I mean? Well, let's talk about what we just did with the pre-foam solution. What did I do? Number one, I foamed everything down. I let it sit for about 5 to 10 minutes, and then I started blasting things off, trying to remove as much of the surface dirt as possible and not getting overwhelmed if I did not get all of the suds off. In what way is that me actually compartmentalizing the issue? Well, I'm saying, okay, here's the type of process that I'm in right now, the pre-foam stage, the washing stage. I'm not at the agitation wash yet, so I'm not trying to make things perfect. And if I can compartmentalize things like that, then I'm not wasting time and overspending time in that area trying to perfect it. And they end up spending 3 hours on something that should have taken 30 minutes. So I'm dragging my mitt across all parts of the paint here. You guys can see I'm literally already halfway done. And then what I'm gonna be able to do is come in for a final stage in the wash process that most of you guys don't even know exists because nobody talks about it. So let's go ahead and finish the agitation wash. Now, after I finish there with the agitation wash, I'm gonna come in, I'm gonna start blasting off all of that agitation wash soap. Yes, now I am trying to be detailed in terms of the amount of soap that I'm getting off. I wanna take a little bit of time here to make sure that 100% of the suds come off the paint. Now I want to take you guys in for a quick after look here after the agitation wash and show you that basically what we're looking at is really clean paint. I can run my hands like this, and yes, I can feel that parts need to be clayed, but it's definitely not that sandpaper feel like that. Now I want to show you guys just a quick little overview of the paint here. Go to some of these main dirty areas, and you can see how much they've already been cleaned, been taken care of. You guys can see how clean this is now. We'll look at the side view mirror real quick, and finally, look at the driver's side door just like that. Really looking good so far. Now guys, at this point, things get a little bit interesting because what we've done is we foamed the car down, we blasted everything off, and then we did an agitation wash. And the paint has been so seriously cleaned up until this point that what we have to do now is very minimal. Now this is the product that most people don't talk about with this particular application. This is from Geon Quartz, okay? So this is a water spot removing product that you normally use afterwards, not in direct sunlight, but out of direct sunlight, potentially in the shade just like this. And while we are not dealing with water spots on this paint, what we are dealing with is road tar and tree sap that has been really caked on that still has not come off with everything we've been doing so far. So while I don't talk about this product very much, it's kind of because it's one of those that I keep in my arsenal kind of as a secret weapon. I don't use it all the time, and when I do, I use very little of it because it takes very little to actually remove the stuff that we're going to be removing. Here's what it looks like. Now, without making you guys look at the bugs that I'm looking at right now, once again, if you guys have detailed cars at any level whatsoever, you know that there's still going to be some leftover stuff that almost looks like staining, and if you're just trying to use an all-purpose cleaner or car soap or a degreaser, number one, you might actually damage the paint, and number two, it's not going to be nearly as effective. So I'm going to take this water spot remover product. I might even take my fingers and just rub it in a little bit. And then I'm going to take my microfiber towel, putting very little pressure, if any, on the paint. And those bugs are 100% removed. Flip to my dry side to mop up the residue just like this. And I've got a completely clean surface there. So guys, just in a really quick review, the main products that I used here is number one, the Purest alkaline degreaser. I will hook up the exact type of alkaline degreaser this is in the YouTube description box below. The AM Details hybrid shampoo. This is just a classic car wash that adds some lubricity. You could really use any type of car soap. Number three, I put some super clean in the agitation wash. But number four, the real secret sauce here is the water spot remover from Geon Quartz. It's a product that's a little bit more expensive, and that's why I don't use very much of it. But the other reason I don't use much of it is because I don't need to. I'm able to get literally perfect results in a third or less of the time, and I'm just using a tiny bit of this product. So even though it's expensive, I go through it so slowly that it really doesn't matter to me. So guys, like I said, all these products will be in the YouTube description box below. If you like content like this and you're getting some value, make sure to hit the subscribe button so you get access to content like this for free all week long. And as always, guys, from Luke here at Wilson Auto Detailing, keep working hard, and I'll see you in the next video.